last thing for me, I mean, you're becoming a star here in the States, you know, big Vegas stages, but of course in Europe, it's an amazing scene over there. So what do you see next for yourself? I mean, there's a ton of opponents that can make sense, but are there locations that you would prefer, whether it be here or whether it be at home?
Well, I wanted to fight on UFC 300, you know what I mean? If it would have been announced for the first weekend of April, like the 6th of April, I may have fought on it, but the wife's due between the 12th and the 17th of April, so I'm not missing the birth of my first kids. That's not happening. So I can't do that on the 13th. I've heard there's a show in Manchester in July, rumours of it, so that could be me. It's only 30 minutes from my house.
To get started, I'll announce some fights for you guys here. This Miami card is stacking up to be badass. Michael Venom Page versus Kevin Holland. Song Yadong versus Jan. Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della. And Ian Gary versus Jeff Neal. Who's got the first question?
Main event, a little bit of a perplexing main event, I guess. What were your thoughts on that?
I guess my take on it is, and you guys can let me know what you think, but when you're 35 years old and or any age in this sport, you're like, yeah, I'm going to wait. Waiting is never a good idea in this sport. This sport doesn't wait for anybody. And I think he looked slow tonight. He got out wrestled. You know, Leon looked good. Leon looked fast. Looked like he had trouble dealing with his speed, and then getting out wrestled too. And not to mention the fact that Leon absolutely destroyed that leg too.
Yeah. Bilal Muhammad was the backup this week. I think you said he's next. It still seemed like the next fight for
I'm not even thinking about that right now.
And last thing I'll ask on the main event with Leon, do you have an idea, like, let's get him back to England now, or we like him here in the States now, or do you have an idea, a plan, like, where it makes sense for him to fight?
Obviously, it makes a lot of sense to have him fight in England. If you look at what the kid's done, he beat Usman twice and just beat Colby. You know, Colby's the guy that I was saying if Usman didn't exist, he'd probably be the dominant champion in that weight class, and Leon beat them both. So, yeah.
Nice.
Much respect to him, and he looked incredible tonight.
Dan, right here.
Hi.
What do you do with Tony Ferguson moving forward? Because obviously he took a lot of damage in that first round, but then he tried to fight back, and I think that's, what, 7 losses in a row now.
I would love to see Tony retire. Listen, when you talk about a skid, right, you look at the guys he fought, too. And that plays a factor into it. And how did he look right up until he lost? Tonight, Tony tonight looked like he should retire.
Last one from me, and I feel like I know what your answer will be on this, but, you know, Leon mentioned in the cage how your comments at the press conference really sort of emotionally hurt him, and he struggled with that, and the death of his father still weighs on him heavy. Do you maybe regret those comments and think, actually, okay, that was one time I maybe did go a little bit too far?
Not at all. Why would I have sympathy for a sex trafficker, someone who's impacted and hurt a lot of people's lives? You know, the truth always stings the worst in the world, so... You know, no, I don't feel bad about that at all. Let's talk about all the victims that he left behind that are surviving of the trauma and the turmoil that he put these people's lives through. So I don't feel bad at all. Why would I feel bad for a criminal?
Looking at your expression when the decision was read, you seemed a bit surprised. At that moment in time, did you think that you had done enough?
I did. You know, I thought the third, fourth, and fifth round were mine. The fifth was mine easily. The fourth I thought was mine as well, too. And you know, I thought I did enough in the third. You know, he didn't put any damage on me. He got a couple low kicks, but then I started checking him at the end. So, you know, I thought I had the win. I thought I did enough. But, you know, the judges have never favored me. They hate me because I support Trump. And, you know, everybody hates Trump in this building. So, you know, it is what it is. Life goes on.
Dana was here earlier. It kind of seemed like Bilal Muhammad would be next, being that he's the backup and all that. But Dana said, I'm not ready to make that decision right now.
Yeah.
Do you see it as like he should be next? Does that feel like an unfinished chapter, or do you feel like maybe there's other options?
Nah, there definitely other options, you know. I don't feel like Bilal should be next. You know, I've done it before. I've run like 10 fights in a row, didn't get a title shot. So what makes him different or more privileged, you know? So Colby's already skipped the line already. So let's see who's next. And but like I said, I am. This is Rocky's era. This is my era now, and I always keep training, whoever's next. Doesn't matter, you know. They're all similar styles anyway. All boxers, wrestlers, and this is what I'll build my career on it, you know. So whoever comes next is it's whatever, you know.
Nice. Last thing for me, we'll figure out who, but where does that matter to you? Do you want to fight back in England, or do you like fighting here in the States, Vegas?
I love to fight in England, especially now we've got Tom. You know, like have me and Tom on the card, headlining, co-headlining. That'd be for the UK. That'd be massive. You know, I feel like that's definitely something that we should push towards to just bring more light to MMA in Europe. You know, I feel like having me and Tom to headline a card, either Manchester or any big stadium. I think that's what we should definitely push towards. You know.
Did you happen to see Shavkat's performance? Because he seems to be the other one that people want to see you fight at some point.
Yeah, I did. He looked alright, you know. I think Wonder Boy is kind of getting past it a little bit. He's like 40 years old, and obviously he went out there and did what he did. But yeah, if he's whoever's next, I don't care, you know. So like I said, this is my era. My aim now is to beat George record. That is my aim, you know. And so whatever get me there is whoever's next, you know.